as Newcastle lose 5-0 at the Etihad Stadium today, and we're going to try and score each player. Now, I don't know about yous watching at home, but I think this is going to be the hardest one for me since Leicester away, because that was a shower of shit. But, as always, you start with a goalkeeper, first position on the field, and Sam, I'll let you sum up Martin Dubravka's performance today.
Where do you start?
He made a save.
He made a save, yeah.
Made a few saves.
He did. It could have got really embarrassing. I mean, he picked the ball out the net ample enough times. In terms of a score, you can't really give him more than 4.
Dubravka had more touches of the ball out of all our players as well. So,
what does that tell you?
Yeah,
it was just an absolute embarrassment of a game, really, from start to finish. And Dubravka was left with no favours from his defenders, because they kept playing him in impossible positions. But Dubravka didn't look comfortable at all tonight either, so that's why I've gone so low.
I mean, fair enough. I'm not going to disagree with you, mate, but he did make a really good save. I think there were 3 or 4 out of sight by then, but it goes across him. He's already committed, but he stuck his hand up and his right hand up and saved it comfortably. It was a really good save from him, and if it was a closer game, that would be probably looked at more so. But we'll move on to DeAndre Yedlin. It's his first start since Oxford away in the FA Cup. And Rob, I'll give this one to you. How do you feel DeAndre played today?
Okay, so I'm about to tell you DeAndre Yedlin's good moments of the game. And I've finished.
I thought you lagged, to be honest.
I wouldn't have blamed you. I honestly cannot give him more than 2. Yeah, I'll be generous and say 2.
I wouldn't be generous.
I'm starting to think, actually, now that you've given me Yedlin, what good that he did that would merit more than a 1. I mean, he got forward on one. He got forward on 1 attack, which was good to see, and I guess that might give him that 1 extra from the 1. So yeah, I cannot see more than a 2. And yet, there's someone in the comments just before we came on air, came live. Kyle told me that one of the comments was that yet someone thinks Yedlin was our best player. No, he was one of the worst of a bad bunch today. No,
I mean, being the best player today is a bit like being the tallest midget. Do you know what I mean? It's no. But I'll take on Emil Croft today. Moved into centre back after 2 very solid games, but shite today, to be honest. He got torn a new arsehole. The second goal, I think it was the first goal where they just passed through where he got run across several times for a couple of the goals. I'll give him a 1, I think. Just not very good at all. As I enter him and put him on screen. What? Giving him a 1?
Yeah, that is silly. I felt
Why?
sorry for him. He's not a centre-back. All right, he's filled in fine there, but that was against frickin' Oxford and Rochdale, and then he's shoved him at centre-back for Manchester City when Cher's playing defensive mid. No. One silly. There's only one player that deserved a 1 out of 10, and we'll come on to him later.
I'm sorry, mate, but it's a defence that conceded 5 goals.
Give everyone a 1. That's just... It's
well, we haven't. We've given Dubravka 4. We're going. We're pushing more luck a little bit, giving him a 4, and then Yedlin a 2. Very generous, and I mean, a team that got beat 5-0 and barely got out the own half, mate. You're not going to get much. And Croft to me was shit today. Whether you play right back or not, defensively, marking a player, he just didn't do it today. They're just running behind him about 3 or 4 times. It was embarrassing. It could have been more because the amount of times Foden peeled off him and got good chances and. You know what I mean? It's like it could have been a lot worse today. And Croft was. I mean, I do feel sorry for him in a way playing out position, but he was just shit today. So we'll move on. Sam, actually, I'll give you Federico Fernandez. How do you feel he did? You're not giving him a 1. I know that much.
No, because look at things a bit more closely than just giving everyone a 1 and a 2. But you probably say Fernandes was very, very, very poor today. No one covered themselves in glory. But Fernandes has played every minute of every game since lockdowns resumed. Before we come on, I kind of had like ratings in my head for different players, so they're probably going to look a bit different to yours. But I was going to give him a 3.
Okay.
He just had a torrid time. Didn't look his usual solid self. I mean, he got the own goal, but he didn't know anything about it, so that was unfortunate. But to be fair, Richie was the only one that was prepared to put a foot in for that whole scenario. Everyone else was just being danced around. Yeah, it was pretty uninspiring at best. But yeah, no one's going to be covering themselves with glory tonight.
Nah, I don't think so. Rob, I'll give you the left back, Danny Rose. How do you feel the England international performed on this day? I mean, to be honest, I thought he was probably the best of our defenders, which isn't saying much at all. But what do you think?
Yeah, he was definitely our most productive defender. I think he was involved in most, if not every single time that we actually managed to break into City's half. So, and I think that's it wasn't that much, but I think that deserves quite a bit of credit. And because today we got thrashed 5-0, I'm not going to give any player more than a 5. So yeah, every rate for me is going to be capped at 5. So I think Danny Rose will fit that bill, and I think 5 is fair for him.
See that, everyone? A 5 out of 10. Can't say Rob isn't generous. He gave Yedlin a 2 and he's give Rose a 5. So Rob's on point today, Mr. Positivity over here. But I'll take on Fabian Schär because I want to leave Bentaleb to Mr. Mulliner. Mulliner, isn't it? It's Mulliner. I've got a thing on this channel. It's the wrong second name. It was Rob Spiral. No, I think I spelled it right. It was on the radio, Rob. I went like Spiral or something like that. So I keep up my trend of
that is how it's pronounced.
Well,
it's not like who wants to be a millionaire.
I remember I did something wrong with your name in any way, but I'm leaving Bentaleb to Sam. We'll just leave it at that. But I'll take on Fabian Schär. I don't know what's happened to this lad. He's just been so not himself this season, and it's been so strange because he looked uncomfortable on the ball. He got dispossessed loads. There was a few little bits and bobs where he did a little bit of skill and played the ball out, but it's just, I mean, he's been called the elegant man on this channel before. Just it hasn't been very elegant recently, and especially not today.
That is up for review when you look at his lockdown hair now. That is up for review. Yeah, lockdown has not been kind to Fabian Schär. Nah.
I mean, I don't think...
He's just not been the same player since January.
No, he hasn't. He's just... I mean, I think there's a clip of him just jogging back in the FA Cup, and he just didn't look on it again today. He was one of the many players in this team that just didn't look like they could be bothered today. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll give him a generous 3 out of 10. And I think it's hard to give him more, and it probably could give him less, but we'll crack on. Rob, I'll give you Jonjo Shelvey before we go to the main event, which is Sam with Bentaleb. So how do you think Jonjo played today?
Quiet. It's as if Harry pulled the spells on him. And it was just one of and it's just one of those, books where he doesn't really appear in. I'm sorry, but I think I completely agreed with what Fordy said in the fan reaction. What you want is that your captain to give your players that heads up, and he showed absolutely no captaincy qualities whatsoever today. No organisation, and the fact that he got subbed off, he was one of our first players to be subbed off, says quite a lot, really. So I think it was a very poor captain's performance today. Very way off the pace. I'm going to have to say 2, and I'm really sorry. I should have said 2 at the start of that very long description.
I mean, it helps me controlling it as well, mate. But
I think Shelvey was a bit out of position at the start of the game, though, which didn't help. I mean, he was pushed up to number 10, which doesn't.
He looked like he was playing as a striker, didn't he?
Yeah, kind of like what Sean Longstaff was doing the other week. at Bournemouth in that kind of position, like a really high up number 10.
Yeah, it seems strange.
That didn't do him any favours because you can't really get in the game, and Shelvey likes to sit in front of the back four and pull all the strings and ping the ball about you, which you can't do that for number 10. So I don't think that helped his cause at all.
I've missed one out, when I've been planning this. I've missed out Lazaro. I've missed out Lazaro, so I'll quickly mark him before we'll go on to Bentaleb. But I think Lazaro tried to make things happen today. He was at fault for one of the goals where he lost the ball. But I'll give Lazaro a 3 out of 10.
Whoever thought he was a right wing back needs their eyes testing because he looks fine going forward, but looks horrendous coming back.
Yeah, he does. He's good going forward. I think he's already going forward. Like he's got that bit of talent that you need, but defensively he's just not about. But Sam, you requested him, and now it's time for you to sum up Nabil Bentaleb's performance today.
Obviously I've had internet issues, which are why I wasn't on the fan reaction show this week, or tonight rather. And I was trying to think in terms of complete performances from players I've seen play for Newcastle in my 25 years supporting them. I can't think of many worse performances than Nabil Bentaleb tonight.
Shy one.
He was. I mean, if who did you give a 1? Kraft? Then Bentaleb deserves a 0. I was going to give him a 1.
10.
But yeah, he's got to have a 1. But I can't think why he's even at Newcastle United. Why is he here? We didn't need a centre mid. He stunted Matty Longstaff's growth. Matty Longstaff's, the more and more it goes on, the more I'm convinced he's going out the door.
Yeah.
But he just does not make any sense. He played people into trouble so many times tonight. He couldn't pick a pass for shit. He couldn't tackle for shit. He couldn't do anything. What was the point of him? Seriously.
None.
What is the point of him being here? In all of the games he's played, Bruce likes him for some reason. So he especially when he first come, he played way more often than what he should have been because he was so freaking unfit and lacking match practice when he first arrived. He's had one good half of football at Bournemouth, and that's it. And his move will be made permanent because Bruce likes him. I don't mind Bruce, and let's not get carried away that we have had a good spell since the restart.
Yeah.
But my God, Bentaleb needs to do one and just never play for Newcastle again. I cannot stand the guy. I'm sure he's a lovely chap, but he's just not for us. He was an embarrassment to the shirt tonight. I mean, and I was all for resting players, and I was all for sticking with 5 at the back against Man City as well. And if we did that, I don't think it would have been 5 tonight. We still would have got beat quite convincingly, but it wouldn't have been 5. But Bentaleb was just an absolute embarrassment tonight. How many times did he just... He probably nearly cost us 3 more goals in the first half alone. In the first half alone, where Man City had chances, they should have scored. So it was just an absolute embarrassment. I couldn't understand why he was on the pitch. There was I'll come on to this when we do Steve Bruce later, because there was a couple of things I have issues with. But Nabil Bentaleb this evening, and I cannot think of a single more complete worst performance that I've seen in 25 years. I'm sure that one will come to me sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
I'll report
definitely.
back on it. I'll report back on the Black and White show on Friday or Saturday. Friday. But I was absolutely fuming with him tonight. I still am now. My internet connectivity issues this evening has not helped my mood one bit.
I think it's just trying to do you a favour, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. But he's just... why was he on the pitch? And why was Shelvey pushed forward in order for him to have Shelvey's position in front of the back?
He can't hold a midfield, can he? He can't play a pass. He's always backwards, and even then, they're not convincing pass.
He can't even fucking run I wouldn't trust him running a fucking bath, let alone the freaking midfield. It was just an absolute... What if anything, I'd have sooner seen him in the number 10 role. Well, I'd have sooner seen him not on the pitch and Matty Longstaff get a freaking start.
Yeah.
But why? I just don't understand. Playing with Cher as well. It's all right, Cher playing for Switzerland in defensive midfield when he's playing against the fucking Faroe Islands or Cyprus, but not when you're playing against one of the best teams in the world. I know they haven't won the league this year and they've lost a few more games than what they do, but they're a
Still
freaking
Man
good
City,
team, Man
yeah.
City.
They beat Real Madrid not long ago, man.
They've some of the selection. I'm sidetracking onto issues with Steve Bruce now, but Bentaleb, one of the worst displays I've ever seen in a Newcastle shirt. Absolute embarrassment. Just
to briefly add on to that, though, I mean, I agree with you, Sam, totally. I don't know why he was signed. Like, he's just all he. If I was Matty Longstaff and I was looking to me left in training and Nabil Bentaleb is playing in front of me every week, I'd be disgusted. I really would.
I remember the day he signed, there was a press conference and it was just kind of like, oh, by the way, Bentaleb's having a medical in the next room. And everyone was like, what? Why?
Like, why? He reminds me a lot of Jack Colbeck, Bentaleb, the way he plays. It's always backwards or sideways, makes stupid, clumsy tackles, and
right, fine. I know Colbeck's not popular and whatnot, but you've got to remember when Colbeck first came, he was half decent and he did all right.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, he was the last Newcastle player to be called up to the freaking England squad. So Colbeck, for all his flaws, and he played most of the Championship season as well. So for all of his flaws, Colbeck is bloody 3 times the player Bentaleb is.
I think you've watched Bentaleb a little bit too much. But
no, I've had an issue with him ever since I was stood outside the Emirates. I just couldn't understand earlier in the season. I was straight with Leo in 40. What's the point of him? Why is he signed? It might have been a gamble. If you go back to January, what did we need? We needed a left back to cover Willems. We needed a winger to add depth, and we needed a freaking striker.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're brought in Bentaleb, quality boys. But we'll get off
doing
Bentaleb.
Your food shopping at Tesco when they don't have what you asked for. So instead, they try and suggest something that you might want instead. We wanted a striker instead. Why not have this Tottenham reject centre midfield?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have given Bentaleb a negative number tonight if I could. And I'm sure I'm not alone.
I don't make the rules, mate. I'm not going to sit here and say, you must go 1 to 10. If you want to give him minus 727, crack on.
I'll put it in. Play for Newcastle again.
I mean, there's something for the title, mate. But we'll crack on to Matt Ritchie in anyway. I'll take this one on. I think he played all right in little bits, but he just. Yeah, sometimes he tries too hard, and it costs him a little bit, and he ends up doing things that he shouldn't. And I mean, at least he tried to actually put a foot in for that third one. It's obviously hit him, and it's there to Fernandes and winning the goal. But Christ, at least he gave effort. Do you know what I mean? You could see the effort from Matt Ritchie, whereas people across the park, like your Bentalebs, your Shares, Kraft, Yedlin, Joelinton, will come on to soon. Not many of them showed a lot of effort today, or even give a shit what was going on. And I think Ritchie is game as he always is, and I just think I think he was just looking around, seeing people weren't arse, and he just ran himself into the ground today. For his effort and his effort alone, I'll give him a 4 out of 10. I'll be nice to him. Do you think you played all right, Rob?
Not bad. I mean, a little bit of a quiet game. Of course, whenever we did break into City's half, it was down that left-hand side. So, I mean, he's just beating off scraps today.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think for the own goal, that was Fernandes' own goal. If Ritchie hadn't put a foot in there, then Jesus would have most likely just scored anyway. Yeah. So, you got to commend him for tracking back, because I mean, tracking back into a position that is not his. Exactly. So I think he's one of the few players that can look himself in the eye and say that they gave everything that they could have done tonight.
And we'll crack on with Joelinton. He didn't have much to feed off, but like Ritchie, in terms of shutting down the ball, I don't think he did that much today. I thought he looked a bit average, if I'm honest. But Sam, I'll let you score Joelinton. Actually, no, I'll give it to Rob. I haven't had a Rob score since I think Shelvey. So, Rob, what you giving Joelinton?
I'm going to say 5, and I know that might be a bit generous, but I just think today, I think today he did everything that he possibly could have done, feeding off the scraps. And the one time that he actually received the ball, because whenever we had the chance to play a forward pass, obviously with Bentaleb playing a backward pass, we lose it. The one time that we actually went forward and Joe Linton had the ball, he just seemed to do a good job of holding it up and try and bring others into the game. He was one of the better players of a bad bunch today. So I think today he did everything that was best that he could have possibly done, considering we only put one cross in throughout the game for him to try and head the ball.
Then he had
and one cross in one cross in 90 minutes, even if it's against one of the world's best teams, isn't good enough for service. So I think it was a good effort from him, but it's just feeding off the scraps. He needs other players around him to play well in order for him to shine.
Fair enough. I mean, comments, get them in if you feel Rob's wrong on Joel. And personally, I do feel sorry for him because we were so deep in one half. It was unreal. I just feel he could have closed the ball a little bit more, but it's not my hill to die on a 5. If it's a 5, it's a 5. First of the substitutes now, and we'll go on to Javier Manquillo. It was a triple change that came on around an hour in. Manquillo, Gale, and Matty came on. And I'll start with Manquillo. Sam, how do you think Manquillo did? To be honest, until I looked back on it through the tweets and that, I didn't even know he was on the field, mate.
No. Game had gone. The substitutes, could you tell that really any of them were on the pitch, really? Manquillo didn't really do anything. Did he? Yeah, none of them did anything of note, though, did they?
No.
Manquillo, 4? Just because he didn't make a glaring error. Yeah. I mean, they went for a bit of pace to try and. Well, no, they took off Lazaro just because the game had gone. Maybe if Saint-Maximin's not fit for Saturday, then Lazaro will be starting again.
I really hope he is. Christ.
Well, Almiron will come back in, but Saint-Maximin, we don't know when he's going to be back. There isn't a time frame on that, and that's obviously the big worry because obviously he should have had a rest before.
Yeah.
Like
it was a foregone conclusion. You called it, mate. To be fair, a couple of weeks ago, you said it was with the amount he was playing, it was going to come because of the hamstring injuries in the past.
Them type of players.
Yeah, and Bruce, like we've said on this channel before, his squad management is shite. So we'll move on to Dwight Gale. I'll take Gale on since I'm his biggest fan on the channel. But to be fair, he tried to put himself about his positioning. For being deep on the field, he tried to hold the ball up, but I think Otamendi just had a bit too much for him in the strength department. I'll give him a 3 out of 10. Didn't do anything majorly wrong, so that deserves
Didn't
a
do
high
anything
3.
wrong, but he's got a 3 out of 10. You really don't like Gale, do you?
I love Dwight Gale, really. I do. Yeah,
I mean, I started playing long ball when Gale came on. Brilliant.
We'll always do that, It doesn't matter who the manager is. We'll always seem to go along when he comes on. I've seen we'll have Rondon on before, Joselu, who were tall enough to win headers in the past, and they'd start booting the ball up once Gale had been involved or whatever. But yeah, I mean, no one's getting a high score today. Let's be honest. But Gale didn't make any mistakes.
Come on, a game like that where it's gone. Surely he should have just chucked on Tom Allen. But hey ho.
To be fair, I'll give him a 4 out of 10. Same kind of thing as Manquillo, where it's a case he didn't make an error, so that's good enough for a 4. But we'll go on to NA29's own Matty Longstaff. Rob, how do you feel Matty did? Up to me, he should have started. Bruce was going on about he's going to be definitely involved today, but he opted with Bentaleb. So do you think Matty did any better than Bentaleb? Actually, no. He couldn't have been any worse than Bentaleb. So, how do you feel Matty did?
Yeah.
As I've answered my own question anyway.
I'm going to say 4 out of 10 for Matty today. I just think he was the only one in the closing stages that still had a little bit of energy left to give. And
yeah,
I think he did try and give his all. He should have started, most definitely. he's trying to play for a contract. He's trying to stay at his boyhood club. He should have most definitely started. And if he doesn't start against Watford, I'd be bitterly disappointed. If Bentaleb starts against Watford, I am going to. I don't know. I haven't made plans.
We're going to be doing a live stream with Sam and Rob if Bentaleb is starting. So stay tuned.
We'll see. But I do think that this is a good time to say that I think Bruce got the timing of the substitutions all wrong today. 2-0 down at half time when you've got a small smidgen of hope that you might just get back into the game. If you get that next goal when you're 2-0 down, then there's always a little bit of hope. And I just think half time was the ideal time to make the substitutions because Bentaleb had a disastrous first half. And then we just go and wait until we're 4-0 down before we bring on our first substitutions. Nah, terrible judgment there from Bruce
since the restart.
Exactly,
that's definitely right.
Exactly.
The next two that came on were Mutu and Atsu, but to be honest, they came on with 4 minutes to go. I would just put them non-applicable, the two of them. They came on the run around a bit and it was full time, so it was the game was already long gone. Sterling had scored the 5th one before the end, so but we'll all agree on a score for Steve Bruce. So for me, I think we've set up as you'd expect with a wing back system. We tried to push them early on, which I feel like he's learned his lesson a tiny bit from the FA Cup game where we just kind of sat back a little bit, but as the game got on, we just got worse and worse and worse. And the failure to make the changes when needed, like Rob said, the failure to keep Bentaleb out of the team, the likes of Yedlin, who hadn't kicked the ball properly since Oxford, really. He's only been getting like the junk minutes for Newcastle. To play him away to Man City, mental. Playing players out of position like Croft and Shea and going to the Etihad and expecting to get something, playing so defensive. I mean, don't get us wrong, for all the big Bruce fans watching, I completely agree he's had a good season, right? But there's games like this where he just pisses you off and does stupid things like this and just surrenders. It's twice now against Man City since the restart we've played them. We've conceded 7 goals and we haven't looked like scoring once, barring the Gale chance that they gave us. Just 2 abject surrenders for me. So for that, I'm going to give Bruce a 2 out of 10 today. I think he was I just think he rolled over and let Pep Guardiola just have his way for me. I don't know if you disagree, but personally, I think Bruce has played Man City twice and give them an easy route to the semi-final and give them an easy 3 points today. But Steve Bruce was I mean, with it's Man City, of course, you're not expecting to roll in and pick up an easy 3 points, but at least give it a bit of effort, man. At least try, pressure the ball, make it happen. But 2 games we've played them and we just haven't tried that at all.
No, we haven't agreed on 2 out of 10. Get that caption off.
I win.
No.
You're going to give it 10 out of 10. Spot on, Brucey.
Nope. But the thing is, he only got 3 things wrong today because he was let down by players on the pitch. The whole thing, your point about going for it and making things happen, you know, he's a 50, 60-year-old centre-back. He can't do it. The players on the pitch have got to do it, and they just never looked interested. The 3 points where he went wrong today, one is obviously playing Bentaleb, but I'll come back to that. 1, the system. I'm sorry, he should have stuck for 5 at the back. That's not going to make me popular, but tough. For these bigger teams, the bigger games, I said, and look, go back to the last time we played them. I said 5 at the back was the right thing to do, so I'm not being fickle, but 5 at the back is how you beat these teams and how you keep it respectable if things aren't going well. That's how we beat Chelsea. That's how we beat Man United. That's how we beat Tottenham this season. All crap games, but we got 3 points.
Yeah.
We did look like scoring the last time, and that was Gale's chance, and that would have been to make it 1-1 on Sunday. That would have been a complete game changer, and then God knows what would have happened. Today, we didn't look like anywhere near scoring, and that was with 4 at the back. 4 at the back happened, and then we get torn a new arsehole down the right-hand side because Yedlin and Kraft can't cope in a back 4. So, and then you've got Kraft, who I said before was playing out of position. Fine, he looked good at centre-back against Rochdale, but this ain't Rochdale, all right? You're not far up the road, but this is Manchester City, one of the best teams in the world. You can't play an abject defender who's just starting to get half decent in his proper position and expecting to fill in at centre-back, not least when you've got an actual proper centre-back having an absolute mare in midfield just ahead of you. So his three mistakes were the system, going back to kind of peer pressure and fan pressure, perhaps, of switching to 4 at the back for the big teams, which we know now didn't work because he did the same at Leicester and we've lost 5-0 both times. Doesn't work. Sorry. And then the other one was playing Kraft centre-back where he should have played him or Yedlin right back. Should have tucked in at centre-back. And then you should have had Matty Longstaff in midfield and Bentaleb should have been nowhere near
the ground
Manchester tonight. So in terms of Bruce and the players on the pitch today let him down as well. Bruce was going apoplectic on the sidelines and he expected more. He was pissed off at full time, as well he should be. But this, I agree with you to an extent because that's the kind of difference you get between. So let's say the takeover does go through. This is where a manager like Pochettino takes you to that next level because he keeps you in these kind of games and he kind of knows what he's doing. A manager like Bruce, who, you're right, he's done a decent job this season. He's done a good job this season. He just can't cope in these type of games. So I think 2's harsh on him because the players on the pitch let him down.
I'd give him a 3.
I'd have given. Well, before you started, I would have given him a 4. So 4.
I'd have had 3. So 3.
There you go.
Middle of the road. In
2,
other words,
3, and 4.
I'm right.
So just meet in the middle and say a 3.
If it's a democracy,
Happy to.
then,
Yeah.
There we go, and we'll leave it on a 3. But to be fair, Sam, I do agree with you. I think 5 at the back against these teams does work. The difference being when we played them in the FA Cup, we just sat back and let them play. And that's the problem. When you've got players like Kevin De Bruyne that can play a 50-yard pass on a sixpence to someone's feet, no problem. You just get picked apart, and then eventually we're crumbled that day, and Shea give away the penalty, and then we had to open up, and then.
The first half on that Sunday in the FA Cup was very, very poor. Yeah.
It's the way you play a 5 at the back system. It can work. Correct. Absolutely. It's proven this season, like you've said. You make it hard for teams, but we just haven't made it difficult for Man City that time. But that would be scoring the players with myself, Kyle, the host, but with Rob as well, and with Sam as well. But let us know in the comments below what you thought of the players today on an individual standpoint. Give them a score out of 10, or try and get 1 above 5 if you can. But if not, leave your comment anyway. But leave a like, subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. There's a couple of more videos still coming tonight, but so make sure you stay tuned for them. And catch you all in a bit, everyone. See you later. Bye.